Hello everybody. This video I just want to follow up from a previous video that I did. I went over the song "Oh Magnify the Lord," and I used those chords, and I was basically going off with this idea that you can start learning songs, and you can really play a lot of songs and play and harmonize on any of the notes of the scale, just using major chords. And so typically what happens is that when you go through, you get a major chord, a minor chord, a minor chord, a major chord, a major chord, a minor chord, a diminished triad, or you can call it diminished chord if you want, and then also you're back to the major chord again. Okay. Of course, last time I used all major chords, and I just want to talk a little bit about what I did. All the minor chords. So for D, you could do a D minor, but you could also do an F major chord, a F major triad. E, you could do an E minor chord, or you can do a G triad, and I'm actually using an inversion, but same thing. An A, you can do an A minor chord, okay, but you can also use a C triad. So there you go. That's how I substituted those chords. And basically when you do that, what you actually do is you create a whole another chord. Like the whole chord actually becomes a D minor 7. So you're actually extending a chord by using a major chord in your right along with a different bass. Okay, so it sounds a little fuller already. Okay. Now also one thing I did was I used major chords on the the flats and the sharps, if you will, the accidentals that don't really belong in the key of C. But these keys, these black keys, and those keys exist in any key. It's just easy to show it in the key of C because they're all black keys. Okay. Now those. Essentially what I did was, and I'm going to jump back in a second to show you how similar this is. I'm using a third down, a major third from this key. So basically, in other words, I'm using the chord where any chord is going to use the first, the third, and the fifth of its own scale. Okay. Okay, so I used the major third down, the A chord on the C sharp chord. I used the B chord on the D sharp chord. I used the D chord on the F sharp chord, F sharp note rather. I used the E chord on the G sharp chord note there on the bass there, and now one thing that I did do in the other video, I used an F chord on a B flat or a A sharp, if you want to call it that. I like the B flat. I used an F chord on the B flat bass note. I actually didn't mean to do that. I should have just used the B flat, because you can use that as well. All right, that's going to be a concept that I'm going to talk about in another video. But essentially, if I could categorize all those substitutions outside of the major chords that naturally occur, okay, each one of those substitutions that I just talked about in the other video are thirds from the bass note. Okay, once again, in review, the F chord that I use with the D bass is a minor third up. It's the relative major of the minor chord. Okay. Same thing. G is the relative major to the E minor. Okay. So that's why they automatically work, and also the A minor and the C. Okay. And so once again, that was a minor third up, minor third up, okay, and then here, and then here, I just use that. Okay, so I just wanted to quickly show you guys that, so that you're not wondering, well, how did he figure out those chords? That's the idea behind how I figured out those chords. It's a minor third up for the notes in the scale. Okay. I didn't talk about one of them. Now this one's a little. This is actually a major third down, and that's the one I use for the B bass. And that's nice because it actually it is the third of the G chord that already occurs. Okay, but for the other keys, D, E, and A, which is your second, your third, and your sixth tone. Okay, second, third, and sixth tone of the C scale. Okay, second, third, sixth. I used a minor third up. Okay. Okay. Whereas the flat second, flat third, flat fifth, and flat sixth, I used the major chord down. Major third down, rather. Okay, so I hope you can use that and apply that to your other keys, you know, just by using that third principle. Minor third up, major third down, depending if you're using your passing tones. You can call them passing tones because usually that's what they are. Or if you're using tones that are actually in the scale, but they're not your 1, 4, and your 5. They're your 2, your 3, and your 6. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that, and be looking for another video on fifth substitutions. This was on thirds. Okay.